I'm so glad you found your way here. Your brain is filtering reality right now, deciding what's real and what's imagination, a skill you use every waking moment without realizing it. Tonight you'll discover why some minds recognize dreams while others never do, and understand why your consciousness works exactly as it should. Welcome to Sleepy Science Night. Now settle in. You're resting safely while your sleeping mind prepares to travel through landscapes you'll forget by morning. Allow yourself this gentle exploration of consciousness. We'll journey through 100 psychology facts about the mystery of lucid awareness, from the moment dreams begin in darkness, to brains that notice the impossible, to the beautiful diversity of how minds experience sleep. This thoughtful journey through consciousness builds bridges between searching minds. A soft subscribe, like, or sharing your thoughts creates a pathway for more sleep explorers to discover and brings us closer to protect this sanctuary. One sleepy soul at a time. Your journey inspires ours. Let yourself settle completely here. Feel your jaw unclench, your breath deepen naturally. You can let these thoughts drift past without holding them. Sense that soothing heaviness enveloping you, like your consciousness slowly dimming its brightness. Thoughts dissolving into peaceful fog of approaching sleep. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. You're floating where dreams rest safely in gentle darkness. Let your mind merge with infinite peace. And now we begin. Lucid dreaming is the experience of knowing you're dreaming while the dream continues. During most dreams, your mind accepts impossible events without question. You might fly through walls or speak with someone who passed away years ago, and these things feel completely normal. But in a lucid dream, a quiet awareness awakens. You realize the experience unfolding around you isn't happening in the physical world. You're conscious inside your own sleeping mind. Research from the Journal of Neuroscience in 2025 confirms this is a distinct state of consciousness, different from both regular sleep and wakefulness. Your brain operates in a hybrid mode, with some regions active like during the day, while others remain in deep sleep. It's consciousness experiencing itself from within the dream, a remarkable phenomenon that about 55% of people experience at least once in their lifetime. The term lucid dream was first coined in 1913 by Dutch psychiatrist Frederik van Eeden. Though people have known about this phenomenon for centuries, ancient Buddhist texts describe similar experiences in dream yoga practices. But modern scientific study didn't begin until the late 1970s, when researcher Stephen LeBerg at Stanford University developed a clever method to prove lucid dreams were real. He trained people to move their eyes in specific patterns while dreaming. Since eye muscles aren't paralyzed during REM sleep like other muscles, sleepers could signal from inside their dreams. Researchers watching the sleeping person's eyes could see these deliberate movements on monitors, providing objective proof that someone was conscious and making choices while their brain remained in a dream state. This breakthrough transformed lucid dreaming from a curiosity into a legitimate field of scientific study. Lucid dreams happen primarily during REM sleep, the stage when most vivid dreaming occurs. REM stands for rapid eye movement, named for the quick darting motions your eyes make beneath closed lids. This stage typically begins about 90 minutes after you fall asleep and returns in cycles throughout the night, with each REM period growing longer. The final REM cycle before morning can last up to an hour. which is why lucid dreams often happen in those pre-dawn hours. Your brain during REM sleep shows activity patterns remarkably similar to wakefulness. The visual cortex lights up with imagery. The emotional centers process feelings. And motor planning regions activate as you dream about movement. It's within this already active sleep state that the unusual awareness of lucid dreaming can emerge. According to a 2016 meta-analysis reviewing 50 years of research, about 55% of people have experienced at least one lucid dream in their lifetime. That's more than half the population. However, frequent lucid dreaming is much rarer. Only about 23% of people report having lucid dreams once a month or more. And truly frequent lucid dreamers, those who experience lucidity once a week or more, represent perhaps just 11 to 13% of all people. A small fraction, about 1 in every 1,000 people, experience lucid dreams almost every night without any special training. These natural lucid dreamers seem to have brains wired differently, though scientists are still discovering exactly why. The wide variation suggests lucid dreaming ability exists on a spectrum, with most of us somewhere in the middle. Adolescents and young adults tend to report higher rates of lucid dreaming than older populations. A 2024 study of adolescent athletes found that 67.4% had experienced lucid dreams at least once, with 30% reporting monthly lucid dreams. This elevated frequency in youth may relate to brain development. The prefrontal cortex, the brain region associated with self-awareness and critical thinking, continues developing until around age 25. During these years of active neural reorganization, the boundary between different states of consciousness may be more fluid. Some researchers suggest that as the brain matures and settles into more established patterns, spontaneous lucid dreaming becomes less common for many people. Though, of course, individual differences remain, and some people maintain or even increase their lucid dreaming frequency with age. When you become lucid in a dream, your experience of the dream often changes dramatically. Colors may become more vivid, details sharper, sensations more intense. Many lucid dreamers report a feeling of clarity and presence that exceeds even waking consciousness. The dream world feels more real than before, not less. This paradox fascinates researchers. You become aware that nothing around you exists outside your mind. Yet simultaneously, the experience becomes more immersive and compelling. Some lucid dreamers gain the ability to control aspects of their dreams, flying through landscapes or summoning people and places. Others simply observe with fascination, watching their minds create entire worlds. The level of control varies greatly between individuals and even between different lucid dreams for the same person. Scientists can now observe lucid dreaming as it happens in the brain. Using electroencephalography, or EEG, researchers measure electrical activity through sensors placed on the scalp. When someone transitions from regular REM sleep into lucid REM sleep, specific changes appear in the brain's electrical patterns. Research published in 2025 in the Journal of Neuroscience examined data from multiple sleep laboratories around the world, creating the largest dataset of lucid dreaming brain activity ever assembled. They found that gamma waves, the fastest brain waves associated with conscious processing, increase particularly in a region called the precuneus. This area is involved in self-referential thinking, the kind of thoughts you have about yourself and your own mental states. It's as if this region awakens while the rest of the brain continues dreaming. The prefrontal cortex plays a central role in lucid dreaming. This region at the very front of your brain handles executive functions like planning, decision-making, and working memory. It's also crucial for metacognition, the ability to think about your own thinking. During regular REM sleep, the prefrontal cortex typically shows reduced activity, which may explain why dreams often feel bizarre yet acceptable. We don't question impossibilities because the part of our brain responsible for critical evaluation is largely offline. But in lucid dreams, portions of the prefrontal cortex reactivate. Not fully, as during wakefulness, but enough to restore some critical awareness. You can suddenly notice that the physics don't make sense, that you're experiencing something impossible, and conclude you must be dreaming. A fascinating 2018 study compared the brains of frequent lucid dreamers with those who rarely or never experience lucidity. Using functional magnetic resonance imaging, researchers scanned the brains of people while they were awake and resting. They discovered that frequent lucid dreamers showed increased functional connectivity between the frontopolar prefrontal cortex and areas in the temporal and parietal regions. These connections remained stronger even during wakefulness. It suggests that people who lucid dream regularly may have fundamentally different brain network architecture. Their brains maintain communication patterns that support metacognitive awareness, the ability to observe and reflect on one's own mental states. This connectivity exists as a trait, present whether they're awake, asleep, or dreaming. So yes, brain structure and function do influence who experiences lucid dreams. But it's not simply about having a special brain. Research published in 2024 found strong associations between lucid dreaming frequency and certain meditation practices, particularly open monitoring styles where practitioners observe thoughts without attachment. The study revealed that daily meditators experienced lucid dreams more frequently than non-meditators. Meta-awareness, the capacity to notice what your mind is doing in the present moment, showed the strongest correlation with lucid dreaming. This suggests that lucid dreaming ability isn't just about how your brain is built. It's also about how you use your mind, the habits of attention and awareness you cultivate during waking hours. Personality traits show interesting correlations with lucid dreaming frequency. Studies consistently find that people who score higher on openness to experience, one of the big 5 personality dimensions, report more frequent lucid dreams. Openness reflects curiosity, imagination, and willingness to consider new ideas. It makes sense that people more open to unusual experiences might be more receptive to the strange experience of consciousness within a dream. Interestingly, research from 2022 found a negative correlation between neuroticism and lucid dreaming frequency. People who experience more anxiety and negative emotions during waking life tend to report fewer lucid dreams, though the reasons remain unclear. Some researchers speculate that heightened emotional reactivity might interfere with the calm awareness needed to recognize dream states, or that anxious individuals may have different sleep architecture that makes lucidity less likely. Dream recall frequency is the single strongest predictor of lucid dream frequency. Put simply, if you rarely remember any dreams, you're unlikely to remember lucid dreams either. A 2017 study, controlling for various personality factors, found that overall dream recall explained more variation in lucid dreaming frequency than any other measured factor. This makes intuitive sense. You need to remember dreams to know whether you've had lucid ones. But it goes deeper than that. People who remember dreams regularly tend to wake briefly during or after REM periods, creating opportunities to encode dream memories. These same brief awakenings may also create opportunities for lucidity to emerge. As consciousness flickers between sleep and waking states, poor dream recall might indicate deeper, more continuous sleep that rarely allows the partial arousal associated with lucidity. Some people have neurological conditions that alter their lucid dreaming frequency. Research from 2015 found that people with narcolepsy, a disorder affecting sleep-wake regulation, report significantly higher rates of lucid dreams compared to the general population. Narcolepsy patients who practice lucid dreaming techniques report between 6 and 8 lucid dreams per month, according to research from 2015, compared to about 2 for healthy individuals using the same techniques. The disorder involves disruptions in REM sleep regulation, with REM sleep sometimes intruding into wakefulness or occurring more frequently. This blurring of boundaries between sleep states may create more opportunities for the hybrid consciousness of lucid dreaming. It suggests that whatever mechanisms normally maintain clear separation between sleeping and waking might also regulate how often lucidity occurs. The chemistry of your brain influences dreaming and lucidity. Acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter, plays a crucial role in REM sleep and appears particularly important for lucid dreams. During REM sleep, acetylcholine levels in the brain are as high as during wakefulness, much higher than during other sleep stages. This elevated acetylcholine helps generate the vivid imagery of dreams. Studies using galantamine, a medication that increases acetylcholine activity, have shown promise in inducing lucid dreams. In a 2018 placebo-controlled study, 40% of participants taking galantamine, combined with a brief awakening technique, reported lucid dreams, compared to just 9% in the placebo group. The neurotransmitter seems to support the heightened awareness needed for lucidity to emerge during dreams. Your sleep habits and patterns influence how likely you are to experience lucid dreams. People who get insufficient sleep rarely report lucid dreams, possibly because REM sleep, and especially the long REM periods where lucid dreams tend to occur, are most concentrated in the later hours of sleep. If you cut sleep short, you miss those prime opportunities. Similarly, irregular sleep schedules that disrupt normal sleep architecture may reduce lucid dreaming. Some of the most effective techniques for inducing lucid dreams deliberately involve waking after several hours of sleep, staying awake briefly, then returning to sleep. This targets the transition back into REM, creating conditions where consciousness might flicker between waking and dreaming states. Gender differences in lucid dreaming frequency remain a topic of ongoing research with somewhat mixed results. Some early studies suggested men might experience lucid dreams more frequently than women, but a large 2020 study during the COVID pandemic found the opposite pattern, with men reporting slightly more lucid dreams than women in their sample. However, the researchers noted their sample wasn't representative of the general population. More recent research from 2024, focusing on personality correlates, found no significant gender differences once other factors were controlled. What seems clear is that if gender differences exist, they're small and likely reflect other associated factors like meditation practice, personality traits, or sleep patterns, rather than fundamental differences in brain function based on biological sex. Both men and women across all genders can and do experience lucid dreams. Video game playing shows an interesting association with lucid dreaming. Multiple studies have found that people who regularly play video games, particularly immersive first-person perspective games, report higher frequencies of lucid dreams. A 2010 study found that gamers were more likely to experience lucid dreams and also showed greater dream control when lucidity occurred. The researchers theorized that the cognitive skills developed through gaming, such as spatial navigation in virtual environments, and the habit of observing one's own avatar from a third-person perspective, might transfer to dream states. Gaming trains the mind to operate consciously within virtual realities, maintaining awareness that the environment isn't physically real while remaining engaged with the experience. This parallels the mental stance of lucid dreaming almost exactly. Visual spatial abilities correlate with lucid dreaming frequency. A study had participants complete a simple task. Find a specific shape hidden within a complex figure. Frequent lucid dreamers performed significantly better than non-lucid dreamers. They were faster and more accurate at detecting the embedded shapes, suggesting enhanced visual spatial processing. Other research has found that lucid dreamers excel at tasks requiring mental rotation of objects and navigation through complex environments. These cognitive abilities involve the parietal cortex, one of the brain regions showing altered activity during lucid dreams. It raises fascinating questions about the relationship between waking cognitive strengths and dream experiences. Do certain cognitive abilities make lucid dreaming more likely? Or does the practice of lucid dreaming strengthen these abilities? Or perhaps both processes reinforce each other? Creativity and imagination show links to lucid dreaming. People who score higher on measures of creative thinking report more frequent lucid dreams. This association makes intuitive sense, as both creativity and lucid dreaming involve generating novel mental content and making unexpected connections between ideas. In lucid dreams, the creative possibilities seem almost unlimited. You can intentionally explore creative problems, conjuring dream characters to offer advice or visualizing solutions to challenges. Some artists and inventors have reported using lucid dreams as creative workshops, though scientific documentation of such cases remains limited. What's clear is that the imaginative capacity needed to create and manipulate dream content shows overlap with the imaginative processes of creative thinking during wakefulness. Both involve a certain fluidity and flexibility of mind. The ability to remember past lucid dreams influences future lucid dream frequency. When you recall a lucid dream vividly after waking, you reinforce the memory that such experiences are possible. You create a mental model of what lucidity feels like. This makes it easier to recognize similar sensations if they arise in future dreams. Many lucid dreaming induction techniques emphasize keeping a dream journal immediately upon waking, not just to record whether lucidity occurred, but to strengthen the neural pathways associated with dream recall in general. The more familiar you become with your own dream patterns, the more likely you are to notice when something unusual happens, that first flicker of awareness that you might be dreaming. Mindfulness practice shows strong associations with lucid dreaming frequency. A 2024 study found that individuals with higher trait mindfulness the tendency to maintain present moment awareness during daily activities, reported more frequent lucid dreams. The researchers identified specific aspects of mindfulness that seemed particularly important. Non-reactivity, the ability to observe thoughts and feelings without getting caught up in them, showed the strongest correlation with lucid dreaming. This makes sense. Lucid dreaming requires maintaining calm awareness while experiencing potentially intense or bizarre dream content. If you react strongly with excitement or fear when you first realize you're dreaming, the dream often destabilizes, or you wake up. The equanimity cultivated through mindfulness practice may support the balanced awareness needed to sustain lucidity. Cultural context gently shapes how people understand and experience lucid dreams. In some traditions, lucid dreaming is actively cultivated as a spiritual practice. Tibetan dream yoga, for example, has trained practitioners in lucidity for centuries as a path to understanding the nature of consciousness and reality. Western cultures, by contrast, historically paid little attention to lucid dreaming until relatively recently. A 2025 study of adolescents in Germany found that only about 1/3 of participants knew what lucid dreams were, even though many had already experienced them without recognizing the phenomenon. If you don't have a concept or vocabulary for an experience, you're less likely to notice or remember it. Cultural context shapes not just the frequency of lucid dreams, but how people interpret and value them when they occur. Sleep disorders can affect lucid dreaming patterns in complex ways. People with sleep apnea, where breathing repeatedly stops and starts during sleep, often report fragmented dreams and reduced dream recall, which likely decreases lucid dreaming frequency. Insomnia presents a different picture. Some research suggests that people with insomnia might experience slightly higher rates of lucid dreams, possibly because their sleep is lighter and they transition more frequently between sleep stages. However, the relationship isn't straightforward. Chronic sleep deprivation from any cause typically reduces REM sleep quality and quantity, which would work against lucid dreaming. The interaction between sleep quality, sleep disorders, and consciousness during dreams remains an active area of investigation, with many questions still unanswered. Substance use affects lucid dreaming in varying ways. Alcohol consumption, particularly heavy drinking or drinking close to bedtime, disrupts REM sleep architecture and generally reduces dream recall and lucidity. Marijuana use shows mixed effects, with some users reporting more vivid dreams, especially during withdrawal from regular use. Though research specifically on lucid dreaming and cannabis remains limited. Certain prescription medications, particularly those affecting neurotransmitter systems, can alter dreaming. Antidepressants that increase serotonin often reduce REM sleep and dream recall. Conversely, when people stop taking such medications, they sometimes experience REM rebound, vivid dreams flooding back, sometimes including lucid dreams. Any substance that affects sleep architecture or neurotransmitter activity has the potential to influence whether and how often lucidity occurs during dreams. Stress and emotional state during waking life influence dream experiences, including lucidity. High stress levels and significant life challenges often lead to more intense dreaming, sometimes including nightmares, which can paradoxically create opportunities for lucidity. Many people first become lucid during nightmares, realizing something is wrong and concluding they must be dreaming. However, chronic stress and anxiety typically impair overall sleep quality, which may reduce lucid dreaming frequency despite the intense dream content. Research from 2020 during the COVID pandemic found that pandemic-related anxiety showed complex relationships with dream parameters. Some people experiencing moderate stress reported increased dream vividness and recall, while those experiencing severe anxiety often reported sleep disturbances that likely interfered with lucid dreaming. The relationship between waking emotional states and dream consciousness remains nuanced. Let's pause here and notice your body. As you breathe out slowly, appreciate each tiny cell inside. Trillions of organisms working in silence. Heart beating, lungs breathing, brain thinking, all without your command. Notice the gentle sensations on your skin, in your muscles, along your spine. You are a complete ecosystem, diverse, self-balancing. Now we continue. Lucid dreaming appears to be a trainable skill, not just an inborn trait. Studies consistently show that people who practice specific techniques can increase their lucid dream frequency, even if they've never experienced lucidity before. A 2017 study using the MILD technique, which stands for mnemonic induction of lucid dreams, found that 54% of complete beginners achieved lucid dreams within 1 week when they fell asleep quickly after practice. While individual responses vary widely, the overall pattern suggests most people possess the neural capacity for lucid dreaming. What varies is how readily that capacity expresses itself spontaneously. For some, lucidity happens naturally, with no effort. For others, deliberate practice and specific techniques are needed to unlock the experience. Reality testing is one of the most common techniques for inducing lucid dreams. The practice involves regularly checking during waking hours whether you're dreaming by looking for signs that reality might not be stable. You might try to push your finger through your palm, read text twice to see if it changes, or check whether light switches work properly. The theory is that if you perform these reality checks habitually while awake, you'll eventually perform them while dreaming. In dreams, text often changes between readings. Your hand might pass through solid objects, or light switches fail to work consistently. Noticing these anomalies can trigger the realization that you're dreaming. The technique works by building a habit that carries over into dream states. Another approach is called wake back to bed. You set an alarm to wake yourself after about 5 or 6 hours of sleep, right after a REM period. You stay awake for a short time, perhaps 20 to 60 minutes, engaging your mind with thoughts about lucid dreaming or reading about dreams. Then you return to sleep. The method works because you're likely to enter REM sleep relatively quickly on the return to sleep, and the brief period of wakefulness leaves your mind more alert than usual. Your consciousness remains closer to the surface as you transition back into dreaming, making it easier to maintain awareness. Many successful induction protocols combine this timing strategy with other techniques. Prospective memory training can increase lucid dream frequency. Prospective memory is remembering to do something in the future, like remembering to stop at the store on your way home. The MILD technique specifically trains this ability. Before sleep, you repeat an intention like, "The next time I'm dreaming, I will remember that I'm dreaming." You visualize yourself becoming lucid in a recent dream, imagining what you would notice that would trigger awareness. This mental rehearsal strengthens your intention to recognize the dream state. Research shows that the strength of your prospective memory predicts lucid dreaming success. The better you are at following through on intentions generally, the more likely you'll remember your intention to recognize dreams while dreaming. Some researchers have explored technological aids for inducing lucid dreams. Devices that detect REM sleep, often by monitoring eye movements, can deliver cues designed to remind the dreamer they're dreaming without fully waking them. These cues might be sounds, vibrations, or flashing lights. The idea is that the dreamer will incorporate these cues into their dream content and, having been primed before sleep to recognize them, realize they're dreaming. Results have been mixed, with some people reporting success and others finding the devices simply wake them up or don't work at all. The effectiveness likely depends on individual differences in sleep depth and sensory thresholds during REM sleep. A 2024 study investigated a new approach called targeted lucidity reactivation. Researchers exposed participants to specific sensory cues, music from a virtual reality experience designed to promote feelings of interconnectedness and ego transcendence, while the participants were awake. Later, during REM sleep, the same music was played quietly. The study found that participants successfully incorporated the music into their dreams, in several cases, became lucid during these episodes, sometimes even re-experiencing elements of the earlier virtual reality experience. The technique builds on research showing that sensory cues during sleep can reactivate associated memories without causing full awakening. It suggests that carefully designed cue associations might offer new routes to inducing lucid dreams, though much more research is needed to understand how reliably such methods work. External brain stimulation has been investigated as a method to induce lucid dreams, though results remain preliminary and controversial. Some studies have applied transcranial alternating current stimulation, delivering weak electrical currents through the scalp to the frontal cortex, attempting to artificially generate the gamma wave activity associated with lucid dreaming. A 2014 study reported some success, but replication attempts have produced mixed results. The technique raises both practical and ethical questions. Even if it works, applying electrical currents to the brain carries potential risks. Furthermore, some researchers question whether artificially induced brain states truly replicate the phenomenology of spontaneous lucid dreams, or create some other altered state that only superficially resembles lucidity. The approach remains experimental and should not be attempted outside controlled research settings. Mental imagery skills during wakefulness correlate with dream control abilities during lucid dreams. People who can easily visualize scenes and objects with their eyes closed when awake tend to report greater ability to manipulate dream content when they become lucid. This makes sense, given that dream imagery and waking imagery likely share neural mechanisms. You can potentially strengthen these abilities through practice. Spend time each day visualizing scenes in detail, imagining yourself in different locations, creating mental images of objects and rotating them in your mind. These exercises may not only make lucid dreams more likely, but could enhance your experience of them when they occur, giving you greater facility in generating and controlling dream content once you recognize you're dreaming. Time perception during lucid dreams closely matches time perception during waking life. In a famous 1985 study, Stephen LeBerg had lucid dreamers count to 10 during dreams, signaling the start and end of their count using pre-arranged eye movements that researchers could observe on monitoring equipment. The time elapsed during dream counting matched almost exactly the time it would take to count to 10 while awake. This finding contradicts the common idea that time moves differently in dreams. Follow-up studies confirmed the result. When lucid dreamers sing songs or perform other timed activities during dreams, they take roughly the same amount of time as performing those activities while awake. Subjectively, a dream might feel like it lasts for hours, but clock time matches real time. Lucid dream control varies tremendously between individuals and even between different lucid dreams for the same person. Some lucid dreamers report remarkable abilities: flying at will, conjuring specific people or places, even changing the fundamental laws of physics in their dream worlds. Others find that their awareness brings little or no control. They know they're dreaming but remain passive observers of dream events, unable to influence what happens. Most lucid dreamers fall somewhere in between, able to control some aspects some of the time. The degree of control may relate to the strength of lucidity, how clearly aware you are that you're dreaming, and your expectations about what's possible. Believing you can control dreams may itself be necessary for control to occur. Dream characters in lucid dreams can behave in surprising and seemingly autonomous ways. Even when you know you're dreaming and that all characters are creations of your own mind, they often say and do unexpected things. They might refuse to follow your instructions, share information you weren't consciously aware of, or display what feels like genuine emotion and personality. This presents a philosophical puzzle. If all dream content comes from your own brain, why do dream characters seem independent? They likely represent various aspects of your unconscious mind. Neural networks activating in patterns that your conscious awareness doesn't fully control. Lucid dreaming reveals the complexity of consciousness, showing how different parts of your mind can seem separate. The most common use of lucid dreams, according to surveys, is wish fulfillment. People use the freedom of lucid dream control to do things impossible in waking life. They fly, visit exotic locations, interact with people who have died or who they've lost touch with, experience scenarios that would be dangerous or impossible physically. One study tracking lucid dream applications found that flying was the single most common activity. The experience reportedly feels remarkably real, with convincing sensations of movement and the visual perspective of soaring through space. Other common wish fulfillment activities include having sexual experiences, eating without calories or health concerns, and exploring imaginary worlds. The appeal is understandable. Lucid dreams offer a safe space to experience desires that reality constrains, providing pleasure and adventure with no physical risk or real-world consequences. Some lucid dreamers use their dreams for skills practice and rehearsal. Athletes have experimented with practicing specific movements during lucid dreams, and limited research suggests possible benefits. A few studies found small improvements in simple motor skills, like finger tapping speed, after practice during lucid dreams. The neural mechanisms likely overlap with mental rehearsal during wakefulness, which is known to improve performance. Your motor cortex activates when you imagine movement and also when you dream about movement. In lucid dreams, you can practice with the vividness and immersion that dreams provide, potentially offering some of the benefits of actual practice without physical effort or risk of injury. However, the research remains preliminary, and the size of any benefits appears modest. Lucid dream practice probably works best for refining skills already largely learned. Nightmare treatment represents one of the most promising clinical applications for lucid dreaming. When people become lucid during nightmares, they can recognize that the threatening situation isn't real and often gain the ability to change the nightmare's direction. They might confront threatening characters, fly away from danger, or transform the scary elements into something benign. Research on lucid dreaming therapy for nightmares, particularly recurrent nightmares related to trauma or nightmare disorder, has shown encouraging results. A review of studies found that teaching nightmare sufferers lucid dreaming techniques led to reductions in nightmare frequency and distress. However, not everyone can become lucid in their nightmares, even with training, and some individuals find the content too intense to maintain awareness. The approach works for some but not all. Halfway through our journey, a pattern is emerging. Lucid dreaming ability appears to be influenced by a complex web of factors: brain structure and connectivity, personality traits, waking habits of attention and awareness, sleep quality and patterns, cultural context, life experiences, and deliberate practice. No single factor determines whether someone lucid dreams. Rather, many influences interact. This explains the wide variation we see. Some people naturally possess many factors that support lucid dreaming. Their brains are wired for meta-awareness. They have curious personalities. They remember dreams well. They sleep deeply, but maintain some consciousness, even during dreams. For others, fewer factors align naturally, making lucid dreams rare without deliberate cultivation. But the capacity exists in nearly everyone, waiting to be unlocked. You're still here with me, thoughts still flickering like candle light. Just notice. Don't judge. Just notice where your mind is. We're exploring consciousness itself, the very thing doing the exploring right now. Strange, beautiful, and perfectly calm. Let's drift onward together. Why do some people never experience lucid dreams, despite wanting to? The reasons are as varied as the people themselves. Some individuals have sleep patterns that work against lucidity. They might sleep very deeply, with few brief arousals during REM periods, maintaining such stable dream consciousness that the reflective awareness needed for lucidity never emerges. Their sleep is too good, in a sense, too seamless to allow the hybrid state of lucid dreaming. For these deep sleepers, REM consciousness remains fully immersed in the dream narrative, without any stepping back to observe. Their prefrontal cortex stays more completely offline during REM sleep. Nothing is wrong with them. Their brains simply maintain clearer boundaries between sleep states than brains that lucid dream easily. Poor dream recall fundamentally limits lucid dreaming possibilities. If you rarely remember any dreams, even if lucidity occurred, you wouldn't know. But beyond that, the mechanisms supporting dream recall overlap with mechanisms that might support lucidity. Both involve maintaining some connection between sleeping consciousness and waking consciousness. Some bridge across the state transition. People who recall few or no dreams might have neurological patterns that create sharper discontinuities between sleep and wake. Their sleeping mind and waking mind operate more separately. When they wake, dream memories simply don't transfer. This same separation might prevent the waking-like reflective awareness from emerging during dreams in the first place. The boundary is too strong. The states too distinct. Individual differences in prefrontal cortex activity during REM sleep help explain why lucidity varies. For some people, the prefrontal cortex remains largely inactive during REM sleep, just as it should be for typical dreaming. In others, portions of this region maintain higher activity levels even during dreams, creating susceptibility to lucidity. A 2018 study found that frequent lucid dreamers show structural differences in prefrontal regions, even while awake, with larger gray matter volume in areas associated with self-reflection and self-awareness. These aren't differences that training can necessarily change. They appear to be stable trait characteristics. Some brains are simply built in ways that make the hybrid state of lucid dreaming more accessible. Neurotransmitter systems vary between individuals and influence dreaming states. We know acetylcholine levels are high during REM sleep, and that boosting acetylcholine can promote lucid dreams in some people. But baseline acetylcholine function varies. Some individuals might have receptor sensitivity or metabolic patterns that keep acetylcholine effects in a range less conducive to lucidity. Similarly, other neurotransmitter systems, serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, all play roles in regulating sleep states and consciousness. The complex balance between these systems differs person to person, creating unique neurochemical profiles. For some people, this profile makes lucid dreaming unlikely without pharmacological intervention, which isn't recommended outside research settings. Their brain chemistry, through no fault of their own, simply doesn't support the emergence of lucidity during normal sleep. Some people's sleep architecture, the pattern of cycling through sleep stages, may work against lucid dreaming. While most adults show relatively similar sleep architecture, individual variations exist. Some people spend less total time in REM sleep or have shorter REM periods, especially in the early morning hours, when long REM periods and lucid dreams are most common. Others might have more fragmented REM sleep with frequent brief arousals that disrupt extended dreaming. Genetics influence sleep architecture patterns. If your genetic makeup creates sleep patterns less favorable to lucid dreaming, you're working against your biology. This doesn't mean lucid dreams are impossible, but it does mean they might remain very rare despite your efforts. Your sleep serves you well in other ways, even if it rarely produces lucidity. Attention and metacognitive abilities during waking life correlate with lucid dreaming, and these abilities vary considerably across individuals. Some people naturally notice their own thoughts more frequently, regularly observe their mental states, and maintain awareness of awareness. Others think more directly, immersed in their thoughts rather than observing them. Neither style is better overall. They're just different ways of experiencing consciousness. But the first style, this habit of metacognitive monitoring, creates a mental stance similar to what's needed for lucid dreaming. If metacognition doesn't come naturally to you, if you don't typically watch yourself thinking, you may rarely adopt that observational stance during dreams either. Your waking mind patterns carry into sleep, and immersive thinking leads to immersive, non-lucid dreaming. Some research suggests that extreme stress, trauma, or certain mental health conditions can affect lucid dreaming likelihood in complex ways. While moderate stress might sometimes trigger lucidity, particularly during nightmares, deep psychological challenges sometimes affect sleep quality generally and might disrupt the specific conditions needed for lucidity. Additionally, some psychiatric medications, particularly those affecting neurotransmitter systems involved in sleep regulation, can reduce dreaming vividness or REM sleep quality. If you're taking medication that helps you sleep or treats mood disorders, those same medications might make lucid dreams less likely. This isn't a problem. It's simply a trade-off. The medication serves its intended purpose even if one side effect is altered dream experiences. Sleep health and mental health matter more than lucidity. Age-related changes affect dreaming patterns and might influence lucid dream frequency. While research shows adolescents and young adults report higher rates of lucid dreams, older adults often report fewer lucid dreams or none at all. This might reflect age-related changes in sleep architecture, with older adults typically experiencing less total REM sleep and lighter, more fragmented sleep overall. It might also relate to life stage and cognitive factors. Older adults might have more fixed patterns of thought and less cognitive flexibility in some domains, though they gain wisdom and experience in others. The playful exploration and boundary testing that sometimes accompanies lucid dreaming might appeal less or come less naturally with age. None of this represents decline, just change. Some people simply don't value or care about lucid dreaming enough to put in the effort required for deliberate induction. While spontaneous lucid dreams happen without effort, increasing frequency usually requires practice, discipline, and some sacrifice of sleep or sleep quality. You need to wake during the night, spend time on mental exercises, maintain dream journals. For busy people juggling work, family, and other commitments, lucid dreaming may not rank high enough as a priority to justify the investment. This is a completely reasonable choice. Lucid dreams, while fascinating, aren't necessary for a good life. If you've never had one and don't particularly want one, nothing about you needs fixing. Your consciousness works perfectly fine. Arriving at the midpoint of our exploration, we've discovered why some people never have lucid dreams. The reasons are many and varied. Some have brain structures less suited to the hybrid consciousness of lucidity. Others sleep so deeply and continuously that awareness never flickers during dreams. Some people's neurotransmitter profiles or sleep architecture patterns work against lucidity. Many simply don't remember dreams often enough to notice if lucidity occurs. Others have personality traits, attention styles, or life circumstances that make lucidity uncommon. And some people could lucid dream with enough training but reasonably choose not to invest the effort. There's no single reason why someone doesn't lucid dream. More importantly, not lucid dreaming doesn't indicate anything wrong or missing. It's simply one of countless ways human consciousness varies, all equally valid. And imagine, even when everything seems empty, space is always full of waves, vibrations, invisible energy. The space inside and around you is never truly empty. Imagine you're floating on a calm lake, but beneath the surface, there's always gentle current. Now we continue the journey. Lucid dreaming reveals something profound about the nature of consciousness itself. We tend to think of consciousness as a single, unified thing. Either you're conscious or you're not. But lucid dreaming shows consciousness has layers and dimensions. You can be conscious of sensory experience, the sights and sounds of the dream, while simultaneously being conscious that these experiences are internally generated rather than external. You can be aware of your thoughts while also being aware that you're having thoughts. This meta-awareness, this consciousness, observing consciousness, operates independently from basic sensory consciousness. The fact that some people access this meta-level easily during dreams while others rarely do reveals that different aspects of consciousness can vary independently. Your brain doesn't just have consciousness on or off. It has multiple types of awareness, operating at different levels. The neural correlates of lucid dreaming, particularly the reactivation of prefrontal regions during REM sleep, suggests that self-awareness is not an all-or-nothing phenomenon but a process that can occur in degrees. During non-lucid dreams, you lack awareness that you're dreaming, but you still have some form of first-person experience. You see, feel, think from a subjective perspective. There's experience happening, just without reflection on that experience. Lucid dreaming adds that reflective layer. You become aware that you're the one having the experience. But even within lucid dreams, awareness comes in gradations. Sometimes lucidity is clear and stable, sometimes dim and flickering. This gradient suggests self-awareness emerges from specific neural processes that can be partially active, creating different levels of consciousness. Studies of lucid dreaming have contributed to broader understanding of metacognition, the ability to monitor and evaluate your own mental states. Metacognition is crucial for learning, decision-making, and self-regulation. When you know that you don't know something, that's metacognition. When you recognize that your memory might be unreliable about a particular event, that's metacognition. Lucid dreaming represents an extreme form of metacognition applied to dreaming. You not only have dream experiences but know that you're having them and can evaluate their reality status. Research comparing frequent lucid dreamers to non-lucid dreamers has found differences in metacognitive abilities during wakefulness, suggesting that lucid dreaming and waking metacognition share neural substrates. Understanding one helps illuminate the other, advancing knowledge of how minds observe themselves. The study of lucid dreaming intersects with research on other altered states of consciousness. Research published in 2025 noted interesting parallels between lucid dreaming brain activity and certain psychedelic states, particularly increased activity in the precuneus, a region associated with self-referential processing and sense of self. Both can involve feelings of transcendence, ego, dissolution, and profound insight. Both represent departures from ordinary waking consciousness yet remain forms of conscious experience, not unconsciousness. Studying these various altered states helps neuroscientists understand consciousness more broadly. What are its boundaries? How flexible is it? What neural mechanisms support different ways of being aware? Lucid dreaming serves as a natural laboratory for exploring these questions. Lucid dreaming challenges the assumption that sleeping and waking are mutually exclusive states. For most of history, scientists thought of sleep and wake as binary, opposite conditions that don't overlap. You're either awake or asleep. But lucid dreaming exists at the boundary, incorporating features of both. Your brain shows REM sleep patterns. You're dreaming. Your body is paralyzed as during normal sleep. Yet you have reflective awareness, volitional control, and some forms of logical reasoning more characteristic of wakefulness. This hybrid nature suggests that sleep and wake are not simple opposites, but complex states that can blend. The discovery has implications for understanding other boundary states like sleep paralysis, hypnagogic hallucinations, or sleepwalking. Philosophical questions arise from lucid dream research. What is the relationship between brain and mind, between neural activity and subjective experience? When specific brain regions reactivate during REM sleep, the subjective experience of lucidity emerges. This tight correlation between brain states and conscious states provides evidence that consciousness depends on physical brain processes. Yet the subjective quality of consciousness, what philosophers call qualia, the actual felt experience of awareness, remains mysterious. Why does increased gamma activity in the precuneus feel like anything at all? Why is there something it's like to be a lucid dreaming brain, rather than nothing? Science can map the neural correlates of consciousness, identifying which brain patterns correspond to which experiences, but explaining why those patterns generate experience rather than just information processing remains one of the deepest puzzles in philosophy and neuroscience. Lucid dreaming raises questions about the nature of reality and how we verify it. In your waking life, you assume you're experiencing an external reality that exists independently of your mind. But how do you know for sure? In dreams, you feel equally certain that the dream world is real until you wake up. In lucid dreams, you realize the reality you're experiencing is entirely mental construct, yet it still feels compellingly real. If your brain can generate such convincing realities during sleep, how can you be certain waking reality isn't also a kind of dream? Philosophers have pondered this question for millennia. From Zhuangzi's butterfly dream to Descartes' evil demon, to modern simulation hypotheses, lucid dreaming makes the question visceral, not just theoretical. By providing direct experience of consciousness, creating seemingly external worlds, the diversity in lucid dreaming ability reflects broader diversity in how human consciousness works. We all have consciousness, but we don't all have identical conscious experiences. Some people have vivid visual imagery, seeing pictures in their mind's eye as clearly as photographs. Others have minimal visual imagery, thinking primarily in words or abstract concepts. Some people experience strong emotions intensely. Others process emotions more intellectually. Some have autobiographical memories, rich with sensory detail. Others remember events more abstractly. These differences appear to stem from variations in brain structure, connectivity, and function. Lucid dreaming ability is simply another dimension of cognitive diversity. The fact that it varies so widely suggests that consciousness itself is not one thing, but a collection of processes that can vary independently. Research on individual differences in lucid dreaming has revealed that cognitive abilities exist in clusters or profiles. People who lucid dream frequently tend to score higher on visual spatial tasks, show stronger metacognitive awareness, report more vivid mental imagery, and have better dream recall. These abilities cluster together more often than chance would predict, suggesting they share underlying neural mechanisms. But not everyone fits the profile. Some people with excellent visual imagery never lucid dream. Others with poor dream recall still experience occasional lucidity. The clustering is statistical, not absolute. This reminds us that human psychology is complex. We can identify general patterns and correlations, but individuals always show unique combinations of traits and abilities. Prediction is never perfect when it comes to minds. Lucid dreaming research has contributed to understanding the default mode network, a set of brain regions active during rest and self-referential thinking. This network, which includes the precuneus and medial prefrontal cortex, shows altered activity during lucid dreams. Research on meditation, mind wandering, and states of absorption has also focused on the default mode network, finding that different mental states involve different patterns of default network activity. Meditation typically decreases default network activity, associated with quieting of self-referential thought. Lucid dreaming appears to involve selective reactivation of specific default network regions, while others remain in the sleep state. Comparing across these different states of consciousness helps neuroscientists understand what the default mode network does and how its various components contribute to different aspects of self-awareness. The relationship between waking cognitive abilities and dream consciousness raises developmental questions. Do children who show strong metacognitive abilities early in life become frequent lucid dreamers? Does training metacognition in childhood increase later lucid dreaming? Conversely, if children are taught lucid dreaming techniques, does this enhance their waking metacognitive skills? Research on these questions remains limited, partly because studying children's sleep and dreams poses ethical and practical challenges. However, preliminary evidence suggests that metacognitive abilities develop through childhood and adolescence in parallel with prefrontal cortex maturation, and that this development might influence when and whether lucid dreaming becomes possible. The relationship between cognitive development and dream consciousness represents a rich area for future investigation. Some lucid dreamers report experiences that seem to transcend ordinary consciousness, what researchers call transpersonal lucid dreams. In these dreams, the sense of separate self dissolves, replaced by feelings of unity with everything, boundless love, profound peace, or cosmic consciousness. Research from 2025 investigated whether such experiences could be cultivated by combining lucid dreaming training with exposure to virtual reality experiences designed to induce ego transcendence and feelings of seen interconnectedness. Preliminary results suggest some people can indeed experience transcendent states during lucid dreams, especially when primed by related waking experiences. These reports echo descriptions from contemplative traditions where advanced meditation practitioners describe states of consciousness beyond ordinary self-awareness. Whether sleep-based consciousness can truly access the same states as deep meditation remains an open question. But the possibility fascinates researchers studying consciousness. The therapeutic potential of lucid dreaming extends beyond nightmare treatment. Some researchers are exploring whether lucid dreams could help with processing trauma, working through difficult emotions, practicing social situations that cause anxiety, or exploring psychological issues in a safe space where nothing can actually harm you. The idea is that lucid dreams provide a kind of virtual reality generated entirely by your own mind, where you can confront fears, try new behaviors, or process experiences without real-world consequences. Early results show promise for some applications, though much more research is needed. Not everyone can achieve lucidity when they want it, and even those who can don't always have sufficient control to use dreams therapeutically. Individual differences in lucid dreaming ability may limit who can benefit from such approaches. Questions about consciousness during dreams connect to questions about consciousness in non-human animals. Do animals dream? Do they have anything like lucid awareness? We know that mammals and birds show REM sleep with associated neural activity, suggesting dreamlike experiences. Some animals show behaviors during REM, suggesting they're acting out dream content, like dogs paddling their legs as if running. But do they have subjective experience? Do they know they exist? We can't ask them. Even in humans, we only know lucid dreams exist because people can report them. The challenge of understanding animal consciousness resembles the challenge of studying pre-linguistic human consciousness. Lucid dreaming research, by revealing how subjective experiences correlate with objective brain states, offers methods that might eventually help address these broader questions. At this point in our journey, we can see that lucid dreaming serves as a window into consciousness itself. The wide variation in who lucid dreams, how often, and with what degree of awareness and control, reveals that consciousness is not a monolithic phenomenon. It has multiple dimensions and components that can vary independently. Your capacity for visual imagery, metacognitive awareness, memory, attention, self-reflection, and many other cognitive abilities all contribute to your overall conscious experience. Some people's particular combination of abilities makes lucid dreaming accessible. Others' combinations make it rare or absent. But every combination creates a valid form of consciousness. There's no hierarchy, no right way to be aware. Only variation, endless variation. Each person experiencing reality through their unique neural architecture. Lucid dreaming has inspired researchers to develop better methods for studying consciousness scientifically. Traditionally, consciousness science faced a fundamental challenge. Consciousness is subjective, private, accessible only from the first-person perspective. Yet science requires objective, third-person observations. Lucid dreaming offers a partial solution. A lucid dreamer can prearrange signals, communicate from inside the dream state using eye movements, provide real-time reports of subjective experience that researchers can correlate with simultaneously measured brain activity. This creates a bridge between subjective and objective, between phenomenology and neuroscience. Techniques developed for lucid dream research have influenced how scientists approach other hard-to-study states of consciousness. The field demonstrates that carefully designed experimental protocols can make even subjective experiences scientifically tractable. The relationship between lucid dreaming and memory systems offers insights into how memory works. During lucid dreams, you can remember you're dreaming, remember intentions formed before sleep, and sometimes remember previous lucid dreams or waking life events. Yet most dream content itself remains difficult to recall after waking unless you wake directly from the dream. This suggests different memory processes operate in different states of consciousness. Working memory, the active holding of information, functions during lucid dreams, allowing you to remember your intention to signal or perform tasks. But the transfer of experiences into long-term memory seems to depend on state-dependent processes that work differently during sleep than during wakefulness. Understanding these state-dependent memory effects helps illuminate memory consolidation and consciousness more broadly. Cultural and individual differences in how people interpret and value lucid dreams reflect deeper questions about consciousness and selfhood. Western psychology tends to emphasize the individual self as the center of consciousness and often frames lucid dreaming as gaining control over your dreams, enhancing personal agency. Some Eastern traditions approach lucid dreaming differently, seeing it as a practice for loosening attachment to selfhood, recognizing the constructed nature of all experience, including the sense of being a separate self. These different frameworks aren't contradictory. They're complementary perspectives on the same phenomenon. Lucid dreaming can serve multiple purposes, depending on your goals and worldview. The practice adapts to the practitioner, revealing what each person brings to the experience. The neuroplasticity demonstrated by lucid dreaming training has broader implications. If you can train your brain to maintain awareness during dreams, what else might be trainable? Research shows that meditation practice creates measurable changes in brain structure and function over time. Similar changes likely occur with lucid dreaming practice. Your brain adapts to how you use it. This offers hope for cognitive enhancement and rehabilitation. If someone's metacognitive abilities are weak, whether due to developmental differences, brain injury, or neurological conditions, targeted training might strengthen those abilities. The brain retains remarkable capacity for change throughout life. Lucid dreaming represents just one example of how intentional mental practice can reshape neural functioning. The same principles apply to learning, memory, attention, emotional regulation, and countless other aspects of cognition. Your brain's current configuration isn't fixed. It responds to experience. The ethics of consciousness research arise in lucid dreaming studies. Is it appropriate to try to induce particular states of consciousness in research participants? What if someone has a disturbing lucid dream as a result of participating in a study? What about the use of drugs or brain stimulation to induce lucidity? These questions become more pressing as researchers develop more powerful methods for influencing consciousness. Generally, ethical guidelines require informed consent, minimizing risk, and respecting participants' autonomy. People should understand what they're agreeing to, have the right to withdraw, and receive appropriate support if problems arise. As neuroscience gains increasing ability to manipulate consciousness, whether through lucid dream induction or other means, society will need ongoing conversation about when and how such interventions are appropriate. Lucid dreaming research has revealed unexpected connections between seemingly unrelated abilities. Who would have predicted that video game playing correlates with lucid dreaming frequency? Or that the ability to find embedded shapes in complex figures predicts lucid dream control? These surprising correlations remind us how much we still don't understand about the mind. Cognitive abilities we think of as separate: spatial reasoning, metacognition, memory, visual imagery, attention, all interconnect in complex ways. Your brain is not a collection of isolated modules, but a highly integrated network where everything influences everything else. Studying one ability often illuminates others. The web of correlations surrounding lucid dreaming has taught researchers about metacognition, memory, attention, and consciousness more broadly. Sometimes understanding the unusual teaches us about the typical. The question of whether artificial intelligence could ever have something analogous to lucid dreaming raises fascinating philosophical issues. Current AI systems process information without apparent subjective experience, They have no inner life, no sense of existing from a first-person perspective. But if future AI systems develop something we might recognize as consciousness, could they have dream-like states? Could they become aware within those states? The question highlights what makes biological consciousness special. Our consciousness emerges from neural networks that evolved over millions of years. Networks that developed sleep and dreaming for reasons related to memory consolidation, synaptic homeostasis, and perhaps other functions we don't yet understand. Any consciousness arising in artificial systems would have a completely different evolutionary and developmental history, likely producing very different phenomenology. Lucid dreaming challenges our understanding of voluntary action and free will. In waking life, you experience yourself as making choices, deciding what to do. This sense of agency, of being the author of your actions, feels fundamental to consciousness. But neuroscience shows that brain activity preparing for action begins before you consciously experience deciding to act, raising questions about whether free will is illusory. In lucid dreams, the question becomes more complex. You feel you're making free choices, deciding to fly or change the dream. Yet all of this happens in your dreaming brain. Who's making the choices? Is there a difference between the part of you that's lucid and the part generating dream content? The paradoxes of lucid dreaming mirror deep puzzles about agency and selfhood. The social aspects of dreaming and lucid dreaming deserve more research attention. Most dream research focuses on individual dreamers in sleep laboratories. But dreams have social dimensions. We share dreams with friends, family, therapists. Dream sharing creates connection, helps us understand each other's inner lives. Some cultures place great importance on dream sharing and interpretation. Lucid dreaming adds another layer. Online communities of lucid dreamers share techniques, experiences, and encouragement. Some people report shared lucid dreams, though scientific verification of truly shared dream content remains elusive and probably impossible given the private nature of dream experience. Nevertheless, the social practices around dreaming and lucid dreaming influence how people experience and interpret these states of consciousness. Through decades of study, we continue discovering how much more there is to learn. We've journeyed through consciousness research and discovered that lucid dreaming illuminates how awareness works. It shows that consciousness has layers, that self-awareness can vary independently from sensory consciousness, that the boundary between sleep and wake is more fluid than we assumed. We've learned that individual differences in lucid dreaming reflect broader cognitive diversity, that metacognitive abilities vary, that neural architecture differs person to person. We've seen how studying unusual states of consciousness teaches us about normal consciousness, how the exceptional reveals patterns in the typical. Perhaps most importantly, we've learned that not lucid dreaming doesn't indicate anything wrong or lacking. It's simply one point on the spectrum of human consciousness, no better or worse than any other. Every mind works perfectly as itself, creating its own unique way of experiencing reality. Almost done? Relax even deeper. Did you know most matter, from a grain of sand to a star, is empty space? Atoms are mostly empty space between nucleus and electrons. Even your body is more space than matter. So let go. Let all pressure, all worry dissolve, like dust particles floating. drifting in the immense universe. We'll continue with the final facts. As we enter the final part of our journey, the question was why some people never have lucid dreams. We've found the answer isn't simple. It's not one reason, but many, all interacting. Some brains naturally support lucidity through their structure and chemistry. Others maintain such clear boundaries between sleep states that the hybrid consciousness of lucid dreaming rarely emerges. Some people's attention and metacognitive styles during waking life carry over into dreams, while others' styles don't. Sleep quality, personality, life experiences, culture, deliberate practice, all contribute. There's no single missing piece, no deficiency to fix. Just natural variation in how billions of neurons organize themselves to create consciousness. Every configuration works, creates a life, an experience, a way of being aware. Perhaps more important than understanding why some people don't lucid dream is recognizing that non-lucid dreaming serves vital functions. Regular dreams, the kind where you remain fully immersed without awareness, allow your brain to process emotions, consolidate memories, and make unexpected connections without conscious interference. Your prefrontal cortex's reduced activity during normal dreaming may be necessary for these processes. Dreams without lucidity let your unconscious mind work freely, unrestricted by waking logic or self-conscious monitoring. The vivid emotions, bizarre narratives, and creative associations of ordinary dreams offer their own gifts. Lucidity isn't necessarily better, just different. Both lucid and non-lucid dreaming contribute to psychological health and cognitive functioning. Some research suggests potential drawbacks to frequent lucid dreaming. While the evidence isn't conclusive, a few studies have raised concerns that lucid dreaming might reduce sleep quality for some individuals. The partial activation of waking-like consciousness during REM sleep could potentially interfere with the restorative processes that normally occur during deep sleep. Some frequent lucid dreamers report feeling less rested upon waking, despite adequate sleep duration. Others experience no such problems. The effects likely vary individually, as with everything about dreaming. For most people, the occasional lucid dreams probably cause no issues. But it's worth remembering that sleep evolved for restoration and processing. And sometimes complete unconsciousness serves those purposes better than half-awake awareness. The diversity in dream experiences reminds us that there's no single right way for consciousness to be. Some people have intensely vivid dreams filled with color and detail. Others have vague, shadowy dreams that fade immediately upon waking. Some dream in narratives with clear storylines. Others experience fragmented imagery with no plot. Some rarely remember dreams at all, yet they sleep well and wake refreshed. All of these patterns are normal, all compatible with healthy brain function. Consciousness takes countless forms across different states and between different people. Lucid dreaming represents just one variation. If you've tried lucid dream techniques without success, remember that brain variations are natural, like being left or right-handed. Some brains access lucidity easily, others rarely or never. This reflects neural diversity, not deficiency. Your mind works perfectly as itself. Whether lucidity ever comes or not, you are already whole. Your consciousness already functions perfectly for you. There's nothing to fix, nothing to achieve, nothing to change. Only awareness to appreciate, just as it is. If you're interested in lucid dreaming despite difficulty achieving it, focus on the broader benefits of related practices rather than lucidity itself. Keeping a dream journal improves dream recall and helps you understand your unconscious mind better, whether or not lucidity occurs. Practicing mindfulness enhances present moment awareness, reduces stress, and supports well-being in countless ways beyond dreaming. These practices have value regardless of whether they ever produce lucid dreams. The journey matters more than the specific destination. Working with your mind, exploring consciousness, developing awareness, all worthwhile pursuits, even without lucidity. Some people who never lucid dream discover other valuable sleep experiences. Hypnagogic imagery, the vivid hallucinations that sometimes occur while falling asleep, can be rich and fascinating. Some people have extremely vivid ordinary dreams that feel as immersive and meaningful as any lucid experience. Others find that dreamless sleep brings the deepest rest and renewal. There's a whole landscape of sleep-related phenomena beyond lucid dreaming. If one door remains closed, other doors might open. Consciousness during sleep expresses itself in many forms. The emphasis on self-optimization in modern culture can make it seem like everyone should strive to lucid dream. But consciousness doesn't need optimization. It simply is. You experience reality through your particular nervous system, with its particular capacities and patterns. That experience is valid, complete, sufficient. You don't need to achieve anything, develop any ability, or change any aspect of your consciousness to justify your existence or to have a full life. Lucid dreaming is interesting, potentially useful for some purposes, but not necessary for well-being, happiness, or meaningful existence. Researchers continue discovering basic facts about sleep and consciousness. Why do we dream at all? What purposes do dreams serve? How does consciousness arise from neural activity? What happens to consciousness during deep sleep when dreaming typically doesn't occur? These fundamental questions lack complete answers. The study of lucid dreaming has contributed insights, but mysteries remain. In acknowledging how much we don't know, we can hold our current understanding lightly. The mind may be more complex, more subtle, more mysterious than our current frameworks capture. Some wisdom traditions suggest that attachment to special experiences, including lucid dreams, can become obstacles to deeper understanding. If you pursue lucid dreams with grasping desire, frustrated when they don't occur, the pursuit itself creates suffering. You might practice techniques with sincere effort, but without attachment to results. If lucidity comes, you experience it fully, without clinging. If it doesn't come, you don't suffer. This applies not just to lucid dreams, but to all aspects of inner work. The fact that some people naturally lucid dream while others never do, despite similar sleep and similar brains in most respects, points to the subtlety of consciousness. Small differences in connectivity, in receptor sensitivity, in neurotransmitter function, in sleep architecture patterns create very different subjective experiences. When someone describes their inner life, their experiences of consciousness, we should trust them. Their experience is real, even if it differs from ours. Consciousness is vast, diverse, and deeply personal. Connection between people doesn't require identical experiences. You don't need to lucid dream to understand someone who does. Empathy bridges different experiences. You can listen, try to understand. Imagine what someone else's consciousness might be like, even when it differs from your own. People experience emotion differently, think differently, perceive reality through different lenses. Rather than expecting everyone to have identical inner lives, we can appreciate the richness that diversity brings. The variation isn't a problem to solve, but a gift to appreciate. Consciousness researchers use the term phenomenological diversity to describe the range of different conscious experiences people report. This diversity extends far beyond lucid dreaming. Some people have synesthesia, experiencing colors when they hear sounds. Some have exceptional visual memory. Others think primarily in words. Some experience time flowing smoothly, others more episodically. All these variations reflect differences in brain function. None is better or worse, just different. Lucid dreaming versus non-lucid dreaming is one dimension of this broader diversity. As we approach the end of our journey, consider this. Your consciousness, right now, whatever its characteristics, is the universe becoming aware of itself. The same matter that forms stars and planets has organized itself into your brain, creating awareness, thought, experience. Whether you dream lucidly or not, you are a unique perspective on existence. The cosmos seeing through your eyes, thinking through your mind. There's no wrong way to be conscious. Your way of being aware is necessary, valuable, irreplaceable. So could we answer the question, why do some people never have lucid dreams? We found multiple reasons. Brain structure and chemistry, sleep architecture, metacognitive styles, personality traits, life circumstances, and choices. But beneath these practical explanations lies a deeper answer. People don't have lucid dreams because their consciousness expresses itself in other ways. The question assumes lucid dreaming is a goal everyone should achieve. But consciousness doesn't have goals. It simply manifests in countless forms, each complete, each whole, each perfectly itself. Non-lucid dreamers, people who never become aware during dreams, sometimes report the deepest, most restorative sleep. They sink into unconsciousness completely, allowing their nervous system full rest. Their dreams process emotions and memories without conscious interference. They wake feeling renewed, refreshed, ready for the day. This is consciousness working perfectly. Sleep doesn't need awareness to serve its purposes. The profound restoration that comes from complete unconsciousness, from absolute surrender to sleep, from letting go of all awareness, that restoration is valuable beyond measure. Some meditation traditions teach that consciousness ultimately transcends all particular experiences, all states, all phenomena. Whether you're awake or asleep, lucid or non-lucid, some deeper awareness persists. Some traditions call it pure consciousness, witnessing presence, the ground of being. If some form of awareness pervades all states, then lucid dreaming and non-lucid dreaming would be just different surface phenomena, both arising from and resting in the same fundamental consciousness. This perspective dissolves the question of why some people don't lucid dream. The word dream comes from Old English words, meaning joy or music. Dreams as joyful music, the mind playing with possibilities, creating and dissolving images, stories, emotions. Whether lucid or not, dreams serve this creative function. Your sleeping mind composes symphonies of imagery, harmonies of meaning, rhythms of narrative. Sometimes you conduct these compositions consciously during lucidity. Other times you simply listen. Both ways of dreaming create beauty. Both serve your psychological and neural health. If you've been trying to lucid dream without success and feel disappointed, remember that intention itself shapes consciousness, even without achieving specific goals. When you set an intention to become aware during dreams, you're practicing intentionality generally. When you reality test during the day, you're practicing present moment awareness. These practices benefit you regardless of whether lucidity occurs. Perhaps lucidity will come eventually. Perhaps it won't. Either way, the work itself has value, transforms you, deepens your relationship with your own consciousness. Children often have more fluid consciousness than adults, moving more easily between imagination and reality, between waking and dreaming. As we age, we often lose some of this fluidity, but we gain other things: wisdom, perspective, integration, peace. There are so many ways to explore consciousness beyond lucid dreaming. Meditation, contemplation, artistic creation, deep listening, intimate connection with others, presence in nature. All pathways to expanded awareness. All valid, all complete. The real change isn't in whether you lucid dream. It's in how you relate to your own consciousness, however it manifests. Can you appreciate your mind as it is? Can you meet your experiences with curiosity rather than judgment? These questions matter more than lucidity itself. Learning to inhabit your consciousness fully, to be at peace with your own mind, to appreciate rather than judge your inner life. This is the genuine practice. Some people who never lucid dream report that ordinary dreams teach them everything they need. They wake from dreams with insights, emotional release, creative inspiration, solutions to problems, connections to their unconscious. Their dreams, even without lucidity, serve them perfectly. They trust the wisdom of their sleeping mind, allow it to work without conscious interference, and wake to receive whatever gifts their dreams offer. If your dreams work this way for you, if non-lucid dreaming serves your life and growth, then nothing more is needed. As we near the end, what matters most is knowing that your consciousness is valuable exactly as it is. Whether you lucid dream or not, whether you dream vividly or dimly, whether you remember dreams or forget them immediately, you experience existence through your unique nervous system. That experience is real, valid, and irreplaceable. No one else has ever had your exact configuration of awareness. You are a singular perspective on reality, a once-occurring phenomenon in the history of the universe. In asking why some people never have lucid dreams, we discovered something more important than the answer. We discovered that the question itself contains an assumption that lucid dreaming is desirable, that everyone should experience it. But consciousness doesn't work that way. There is no ideal form of awareness that everyone should achieve, only infinite variation. Each form complete in itself. Your consciousness isn't working towards some goal. It's simply being, experiencing, aware in its own way. So here at the end, the ultimate truth emerges. Some people never have lucid dreams, for the same reason some are left-handed while others are right-handed. Variation is the nature of biological systems. Your specific neural organization creates your specific consciousness, including how you dream. There's no deficiency, only diversity. You are one expression of consciousness among billions, each unique, each necessary. Your way of being conscious, dreaming or awake, lucid or not, is exactly right, complete. And so our quiet journey through the mystery of lucid dreams comes to a gentle close. We've traveled from the science of awareness emerging in sleep to the reasons consciousness varies so widely between minds, discovering along the way that dreaming without lucidity serves profound purposes. From the neural networks that might support lucidity to the equally valid networks that maintain clearer boundaries between sleep states, we've glimpsed how consciousness is both universal and utterly personal. Consciousness reminds us that existence takes countless forms. Much of the wonder happens in diversity. In the billions of unique ways, minds experience reality. In variations we celebrate rather than correct. Without different perspectives, different experiences, different dreams, we would lose the richness that makes humanity beautiful. By pausing to notice, we glimpse the extraordinary in every ordinary mind. In these final minutes, take the deepest breath you can, as deep as possible. Think about consciousness itself, yours, mine, everyone listening, all awareness, everywhere, perhaps all connected in ways we don't yet understand. You are not alone in the universe of minds. Let your entire being dissolve into the ocean of consciousness, into dreamless rest, into the space before thought. If this thoughtful exploration of the mind made you relax, fall asleep, or sparked curiosity tonight, a gentle like and subscribe helps other sleepless souls discover this peaceful space too. It only takes a moment, but it means the world to us. One quiet tap, one sleepy soul at a time. But there's no need to do anything now. Nothing at all. You've traveled far tonight, farther than most journeys take you. You can allow these thoughts of consciousness and dreams to fade now, like morning mist dissolving into sunlight, leaving only the gentle calm behind. Let your breathing deepen. Let your body feel heavier, as if gravity itself is welcoming you, pulling you softly towards sleep. If sleep comes, let it carry you like a tide withdrawing from shore, smoothly, inevitably, into a realm where questions dissolve and awareness rests. If your eyes are still open, the next video is waiting for you, ready to continue the journey. But if they're closed, stay there. Stay in the darkness that feels safe and warm. Tomorrow, consciousness will still be the universe, looking at itself through countless eyes. Your unique way of experiencing reality will still be valid, complete, necessary. But tonight belongs to stillness, to letting go, to the peace that comes when we stop trying to be anything other than what we already are. Rest well, peaceful dreamer. And remember, your consciousness is already perfect. Lucid or not, dreaming or still, exactly as it is. Dream deeper, with bedtime science. Good night.